They said it was just salt, but in the hands of old doctors, it became something almost sacred. Dr. Lewis still remembers the winter of 1968. The clinic smelled faintly of warm towels and menthol. A farmer's wife came in, her knees swollen, her fingers locked stiff like branches in frost. She couldn't even button her coat. Pills hadn't helped. Therapy was too expensive. So he did what his teacher once taught him long ago. He mixed sea salt with a few drops of castor oil, warmed it between his palms, and began to rub it gently over her joints. Within minutes, she whispered, "It's burning," but in a good way. 2 days later, she returned, walking freely, smiling, holding a small basket of eggs as thanks. Old doctors used to swear by this. They said this simple salt rub reversed 13 stubborn conditions: pain, swelling, even sleepless nights without a single pill. And now, decades later, their secret is resurfacing. Because healing was never meant to be complicated. It's warmth, it's touch, it's minerals speaking the body's language, a language modern medicine often forgets. Have you ever tried something simple that actually worked? If you have, drop a heart in the comments. I read every one. And stay with me, because what salt does beneath your skin might just surprise you. Before there were pills, before there were injections, there was salt. Not the kind sprinkled on fries, but the kind old doctors warmed between their hands, believing it could draw pain out of the body. Dr. Lewis used to tell his students, medicine didn't start in a lab, it started in a kitchen. He wasn't exaggerating. For centuries, healers from Japan to Greece used salt to cleanse wounds, ease swelling, and pull fatigue out through the skin. They called it the poor man's therapy, yet it worked when expensive treatments failed. You see, salt isn't just seasoning. It's made of minerals your body already knows. Sodium, magnesium, trace elements that balance fluids and nerves. When warmed and massaged into the skin, it wakes up circulation. It tells sleepy blood vessels to open. It draws trapped fluids back into flow. That's why old doctors trusted it for arthritis, stiff joints, cold hands, and restless legs. One story Dr. Lewis loved sharing was about Helen, 69. Her fingers were curled from arthritis, and she couldn't play piano anymore. He taught her the salt rub, a handful of sea salt mixed with olive oil, warmed in a towel. Within a week, she called him crying, saying she played again. There's something timeless about that moment, the look of surprise when pain fades without a prescription. And if you grew up before 1970, you might remember your parents using salt this way too. On sore throats, on bruises, on tired feet after long days. They weren't wrong. Science is now catching up to what they knew by instinct. But what makes salt truly powerful isn't just what it pulls out of the body. It's what it gives back. It starts with warmth, a soft heat that spreads like a quiet sunrise under the skin. That's how the salt rub begins its work. When salt touches warm oil, something simple but powerful happens. The crystals pull moisture toward the surface, drawing blood to areas that have been cold and still for too long. Tiny capillaries open. Circulation wakes up. And suddenly, oxygen begins to flow again to places that had been forgotten. Knees, ankles, shoulders, hands. Dr. Lewis used to explain it this way. Salt teaches your blood where to go. It's not magic, just chemistry. The minerals, sodium, magnesium, potassium, create a natural charge that helps fluids move and nerves calm down. Your body responds by releasing nitric oxide, the same molecule that doctors use to relax arteries. That's why many patients describe feeling a deep warmth that lasts for hours after the rub. Maria, 64, knows that feeling well. For years, she couldn't sleep because her feet felt icy, even under thick blankets. One evening, she tried the old recipe, coarse sea salt mixed with sesame oil, gently massaged into her soles. She said within minutes her toes tingled. That night, She slept through until morning for the first time in months. It's hard to explain unless you've felt it yourself. That moment when your body seems to sigh in relief, as if something heavy finally let go. You know that feeling when your hands thaw after being outside in the cold? That slow return of life. That's exactly what the salt rub does from the inside out. And yet, what surprised old doctors most wasn't how it eased pain, but what it began to heal next. The first thing old doctors noticed was how quickly pain began to fade. Not the dull kind that comes and goes, but the deep, stubborn ache that makes climbing stairs feel like punishment. They started with patients who had swollen knees, stiff fingers, and cold feet that never seemed to warm. It became almost routine. Warm sea salt, a few drops of castor or ginger oil. Rubbed gently until the skin glowed pink. Within hours, circulation improved. Within days, swelling softened. Robert, 70, still remembers that first night. His doctor told him to heat a handful of sea salt in a pan, wrap it in a thin cloth, and press it over his knees while breathing slowly. At first, it hurt more, he said. Then suddenly, it felt like my joints were waking up. By the next morning, he could bend his leg without the sharp sting that used to stop him halfway. This is what old doctors called releasing the trapped fire. In modern terms, it means freeing up blood that's been stagnant in inflamed tissue. Warm salt helps move it again, pushing fresh oxygen in and flushing toxins out. It's like unclogging a frozen pipe inside your body. The effect often spreads. Patients who began with joint pain reported warmer hands, better balance, even easier walking. That's because when your circulation improves, everything improves. You can almost picture it. Salt melting into the skin, heat radiating upward, the body remembering how to flow again. If you've ever had that cold, heavy feeling in your legs by afternoon, you know how real this is. But here's what's even more fascinating. The same warmth that heals pain also wakes up the nerves. The silent messengers that control sleep, balance, and calm. What if better sleep started from your feet? That's what Dr. Lewis used to tell his patients who couldn't rest no matter what pills they tried. He believed the body's quietest systems, nerves, hormones, circulation, could all be reset with warmth, and the salt rub became his gentle way to prove it. He noticed something remarkable. When salt was massaged into the soles or the back of the neck before bed, people didn't just sleep longer, they slept deeper. Their breathing slowed, their hands warmed, their minds stopped racing. It was as if the body finally felt safe enough to let go. Linda, 58, had battled sleepless nights for nearly a decade. She'd fall asleep at 10, then wake again at 2, heart pounding for no reason. One night, she tried what Dr. Lewis suggested, a warm towel sprinkled with sea salt and a few drops of lavender oil placed at the base of her skull. Within 15 minutes, her eyes grew heavy. The next morning, she called him, whispering, "I slept through the night." Scientists today would say it's the minerals and gentle heat triggering the parasympathetic nervous system, the part that tells your body you're safe now. But back then, the old doctor simply said, salt calms the nerves. And you can feel it too. That slow melting away of tension when warmth meets skin, the way your body sighs without words. If you've been lying awake lately, watching the clock tick past midnight, try this simple ritual. Let the salt do its quiet work. Listen to your breath. Feel the calm spreading up your spine, because when your body learns to rest again, everything else begins to heal. And for many of Dr. Lewis's older patients, the next change happens somewhere they never expected, deep in the gut. It often surprises people when they learn this. Salt doesn't just work on the surface. It speaks to your gut too. Old doctors noticed that when their patients rubbed warm salt across the belly, something remarkable happened. Digestion improved, bloating eased, that heavy, sluggish feeling after meals began to fade. They believed the warmth and minerals were helping the lymphatic system, the body's quiet drainage network, move again. Today we know they were right. When that flow slows down, toxins linger and energy drops. But when it moves, the whole body feels lighter. Henry, 7, had spent years struggling with indigestion and swelling around his waist. He tried pills, diets, teas. Nothing lasted. One evening, following Dr. Lewis's advice, he mixed coarse sea salt with a spoon of castor oil, warmed it slightly, and rubbed it in slow circles around his navel for 10 minutes. He said he could actually feel warmth spreading inward, like his stomach exhaled. The next morning, his belly felt softer, his energy steadier. That gentle heat does more than soothe muscles. It signals the liver to wake up. It draws blood to the digestive organs, helping them do their job again. It's why many old remedies focused on the belly, the true center of healing. You know that light, easy feeling after a good meal or a deep breath? That's what this brings back, not by forcing the body, but by reminding it how to move naturally. If you've been feeling weighed down or tired after eating, try this before bed, just once. You might feel that same quiet warmth spreading through your core. And what came next for Dr. Lewis's patients wasn't just physical. The salt rub began to reach deeper, to the skin, the senses, even the memory itself. Your skin is your brain's largest mirror. That's what Dr. Lewis always said. He believed when circulation returns to the surface, the mind begins to clear too. And time after time, his patients proved him right. For years, Susan, 73, had battled what her family called fog days. She'd forget names, lose track of time, stare out the window and feel the world blur. Her doctor said it was normal aging, but Dr. Lewis thought differently. He asked her to rub warm sea salt mixed with a few drops of sesame oil along her neck and shoulders every evening, just before bed. The first week, she felt warmth in her scalp, a soft pulse behind her ears. By the second week, something changed. She told him, "I can think again." I even remembered my granddaughter's birthday. Her eyes were bright when she said it. You see, the skin isn't just a barrier, it's an active organ of communication. When blood flow improves through the skin, oxygen reaches the brain more freely. That's why old doctors often said, keep the neck warm and the mind sharp. Salt helped them do both. The science behind it is simple but beautiful. Heat dilates blood vessels. Salt's trace minerals help conduct small electrical signals that nerves use to talk to each other. The result? A brain that feels awake again, clear, focused, alive. And it's not just about memory. Patients often said their mood lifted. Their eyes looked brighter. Their skin glowed with color again. It's as if the fog lifted from both body and mind. Your skin can heal your brain. Who would have thought? But for Dr. Lewis, what touched him most wasn't sharper memory or smoother skin. It was what happened next. Something no lab test could ever measure. Sometimes the body heals last, the spirit heals first. That's what Dr. Lewis came to believe after decades of watching his patients return not only to health, but to life. One of them was Martha, 75. She'd lost her husband 2 years before and had fallen into a quiet kind of exhaustion, McCoy. Not the kind you sleep off, but the kind that settles deep inside. Her appetite faded. Her days blurred. She said she felt hollow. Dr. Lewis didn't prescribe pills. Instead, he mixed warm sea salt with a spoon of olive oil and told her, every morning, rub it on your chest, over your heart. 10 minutes. Nothing else. She smiled politely, but didn't expect much. A week later, she returned, not cured, but lighter. It's strange, she said. When I rub it in, I feel like something inside me unclenches. By the second week, her neighbors noticed she was humming again while tending her garden. What the salt did for her was simple but profound. It reawakened her senses. The warmth reminded her body that she was still here, still alive, still capable of feeling comfort. It's as if the salt carried a message the body had been too tired to hear. You're safe now. Other patients said similar things. After a few days of daily rubbing, they began to smile more, breathe easier, laugh again. Pain didn't vanish overnight, but their relationship with it changed. They started to trust their bodies again. Dr. Lewis used to watch this quiet transformation and say, "You can measure blood pressure, not joy, but when joy returns, healing follows. You might not believe it until you feel it yourself." That soft warmth across your chest, that moment your heart feels lighter than it has in years. And that's when those old doctors realized something simple. Salt was never just salt. It was a way to remind the human spirit how to live again. But modern medicine couldn't explain it, at least not until the science finally caught up. Modern labs are finally catching up to what old doctors already knew. For years, scientists dismissed the salt rub as folklore, a comforting story, not a treatment. But then came the data. In small clinical trials, warm salt compresses showed measurable effects on circulation, inflammation, and pain perception. One study found that local heat from mineral-rich salt increased nitric oxide levels, the same molecule responsible for relaxing blood vessels and improving oxygen flow. Another discovered that salt stimulates sweat glands and lymph movement, helping the body release trapped toxins through the skin. That's what the old doctors were doing all along, restoring balance through touch and temperature, not chemicals. Dr. Lewis followed this research closely even in retirement. He loved seeing what modern machines confirmed. He would smile and say, "See, it was never superstition. It was physiology in slow motion." At Boston General, a team of geriatric specialists recently revisited his method with a group of volunteers over 60. Every evening, participants rubbed warm sea salt and castor oil on their legs and necks for 10 minutes. Within a week, 85% reported less stiffness. 70% said their sleep improved. Some even noted clearer thinking and brighter mood. It turns out, salt isn't just pulling out, it's giving back. Trace minerals like magnesium and potassium help nerves fire smoothly, while gentle massage releases oxytocin, the hormone of safety and calm. Together, they form a natural medicine the body instantly recognizes. For decades, we chased new cures, new pills, new shortcuts. Yet the answer might have been hiding in plain sight, in the same mineral that fills our oceans and tears. Sometimes it takes science to remind us that the body's oldest language is still touch and warmth. And what these old doctors agreed on in the end will stay with you long after this video ends. Maybe healing was never about complexity, but about remembering what's simple. Dr. Lewis used to sit by his window at sunset, a small bowl of sea salt on the table beside him. "We never healed them," he'd say softly. "We only reminded their bodies how." That's what this story has been about all along. A quiet return to trust. Trust in warmth, in touch, in the body's own rhythm. For every patient who found comfort in that humble salt rub, it wasn't just pain that eased. It was fear. The fear of growing older, of slowing down, of losing control. Because when your hands warm the skin, your own or someone you love, something deeper stirs. Blood begins to move, yes. But so does memory. You remember the comfort of being cared for, the way life once felt safe and steady. That's why the salt rub works on more than just joints or nerves. It reaches the parts of you that medicine can't touch. You don't need another pill. You don't need to chase another promise. You just need to listen, really listen, to what your body has been asking for. A little warmth, a little patience, a little reminder that you're still capable of healing. Try this for 7 days. See how your body responds. Notice the calm, the warmth, the way your breath deepens without trying. And if it works, even just a little, share it with someone you love. Because sometimes the cure you've been searching for has been sitting quietly in your kitchen all along. And if you think that's powerful, wait until you see what happens when salt meets one forgotten point on the body, the one that even doctors couldn't explain. We'll explore that next time.